I'm going to talk tonight about weather. Now, I'm not being funny. Is anybody else really fed up with the hot weather now? I'm getting headaches all the time. My head is killing me constantly. I'm sweating. Honestly, it's minging. How do you guys feel? You're in a jumper. Oh my gosh. So give me a hand up if you are done with the hot weather and you're ready for it to be finished. Yeah, you are my people. I'm ready for autumn and winter. Okay, so the reason why I want to talk about that right now is because we have had beautiful weather and it's nice to enjoy, and it just feels like all your life's problems have gone away when you're in the sun and you're just chilling and you get a tan and you're really happy. But it's not always like that because we live in Wales and I'm assuming, apart from our friends from the valleys, but we all live by the beach. And so, we're near the coast here, and so we tend to get a lot of the horrendous weather. When I got engaged, when my husband proposed to me, do you remember that storm, it would have been 6 years ago now, Hurricane Brian, was it? Storm Brian, I was engaged in that. He chose that day to do it. I was sitting on a plastic bag on the Fendrod Lake and he was down on one knee and I was like, you couldn't have chosen better weather. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's irrelevant. But anyway, we have rubbish weather. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the different storms that we've experienced in Wales, and they've been horrendous. Like, we've had flash floods, we get weather warnings, and it can get really bad and quite dangerous. But before I go on to speak about what I want to speak about tonight, I want you guys to give me a hand with something. So, thank you. I'm loving the encouragement, mate. Cheers. So, I'm going to split you guys up into tables, right? Don't worry, you don't have to move. You literally don't have to get up, right? But I really think that this would be quite helpful for us to set the scene here. Okay, so before we do that, there is a chapter in the Bible, a book in the Bible in a chapter 4 called Mark, right? So Mark chapter 4. We are seeing the scene where Jesus and his mates, the disciples, they are getting on a boat and they're going out to sail somewhere. The weather seems okay. There wasn't anything in particular that was stopping them getting on the boat that day. Obviously, back then, they didn't have the Met Office. They didn't have weather warnings, so they would just have to trust the process and get to the other side. So they're in this boat, and the boats would have been this wasn't like a QE2 or a Stena Line boat, right? This was a wooden thing with nets attached to the side, and there would have been a little bit underneath for the fishermen to sleep. So they all get on this boat, and one of the things I love about this chapter is Jesus is like, I'm going for a nap. So Jesus just gets under the boat and goes for a nap, and his disciples are on the top, and they are, chilling. They get out to the middle of the sea, and bear in mind now, they are in the middle of the sea. There's no shore. They're too far away. Oh, cheers, Neil. Look at that. They're too far out. They're nowhere near where they're going, and they're too far away. So they are stuck in the middle of this ocean. And this is where we hear of the storm happening, right? So this is where I need your help. So 1, 2, 3, these 3 tables. I want you... I want it all. No. On your laps, because you guys are the rain, right? Then 1, 2, I want you to do a mixture of thunder and rain. The thunder is a tap on the table, and then the 2 back is the thunder. So after 3, I want you to do it as loud as you can, okay? 1, 2, 3, go! Stop! Cheers. Okay, so we've set the scene. Okay, but don't forget about all that because we're going to do that again in a minute. But I just wanted to kind of set the scene. That's what it would have been like, okay? That is what it would have been like in the middle of this ocean. They wouldn't have had anywhere to go. They wouldn't have had, guys, you listening? They wouldn't have had anywhere to go, okay? They literally wouldn't have had anywhere to go, and they would have just been in the middle of this ocean, just completely lost in the middle of the storm. And so they're running around like headless chickens, and then one of them's like, hang on, where the heck is Jesus? And Jesus is having a kip, right? They're like, Jesus is sleeping. So they go and wake him up. Right? And they're like, Jesus, don't you care if we drown? Like, we are literally about to drown. And so Jesus gets up and he walks to the foot of the boat, all right? Can you do it again after 3? 1, 2, 3, go! And then Jesus says, quiet! Be still. That's what he says. And that is what happens. The storm literally stopped. It just stopped. I'll explain to you in a bit, babes, okay? It stopped, okay? And he turns around to his disciples and he says, have you have that little faith that you didn't think that I could do this? You know, and sometimes life can be like a storm, right? And I'm going to be completely straight up with you guys. We talk here about Christianity and becoming a Christian. And people often think that it's all sunshine and roses and everything's fine. It's not. You still live in a broken world. Whether you're a Christian or not, you still live in a broken world. And there are things going on around us that are really, really rubbish. And sometimes those rubbish things happen to us. And so being a Christian is not something that makes you immune to difficulties. There's a really, really good quote that I love from C.S. Lewis, and it says this. C.S. Lewis is the guy that wrote Narnia, you know, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So there's a really good quote by him, and it says, being a Christian is not immunity from difficulties, it's peace within them. That sums up the Christian life right there. You are not going to be exempt from going through stuff, because they will happen, okay? But you're going to have peace within them. And sometimes life can be absolutely horrendous, like that storm that we just created. The wind is lashing down, the wind is blowing, the rain is lashing down, the thunder's rolling, and it's really, really, really difficult to see past it. It's difficult to see through it, okay? But I just want to draw your attention to something, all right? Do you want to put your phone away, babes? Thank you. So Jesus got in the boat, and he knew that that was going to happen. He knew the storm was coming. He knew. The disciples didn't, but he did. And you know what? He slept straight through it because he knew it was going to be okay. And I'm not saying that Jesus is going to sleep through your problems. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he is in total control. And so even when it feels like times are really, really, really hard, and it can get really hard, and it can get really, really difficult, there is hope within those difficulties. There's peace within those difficulties. And so the reason why I'm sharing this with you tonight is I don't know what situation you're in. You could be in a really, really difficult situation right now where you just can't seem to see a way out. You're in that storm and you're just drenched completely and you just feel really hopeless. But it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. And one thing to take away from this evening is that you're not alone. You are not alone in what you're going through. You're not alone in your struggle, and you don't have to do it alone. Any member of the team would be happy to speak with you if you feel that way, and if you feel that you just need a bit of support and you need some help. We'd be more than happy to help you guys. But one thing that I do want you to take away from this evening, okay, is invite Jesus into your boat. Invite him in, because even though the storms will come, and it'll feel like they're unrelenting, and it'll feel like it's just never ending. If he's in the boat, you can smile at the storm. When I was a child, I'll finish with this. When I was a child, there was a song. It's kind of like the Christian version of Head, Shoulders, Knees and Toes. So like where you miss out a bit each time. It's kind of like that. And the song is called With Jesus in the Boat, We Can Smile at the Storm. And is what it's like with being a Christian. With Jesus in the boat, you can smile at the storm because you know that it's going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. All right? I just wanted to give you guys a bit of encouragement that if you're going through something at the moment, that you're not alone, you don't have to be alone, and that we are here for you. You don't have to be hopeless, you don't have to be on your own.